Today is Monday, December 9th, 2024, and it was a pretty bad day for me. But before I forget, I wanted to mention the Chinese ETFs, more specifically yinn. So a couple of videos back, I can't remember which one, I did mention something about China and how I had some positions in a separate account that I strictly just do trading on, mostly option trades, but sometimes I will have some leveraged ETFs in there. And wow, like today I woke up to a surprise. I did go ahead and take a little bit of profits. I believe I took half my profits, and the other half I'm just kind of letting it ride out because there potentially could be some more upside. Now, there was a chart that I also posted on X that was on the weekly time frame. So this could be the start of a much longer bull run rally that China will go through. And because I already know somebody's going to ask me this in the comments, I'll just go ahead and answer it. Why did I get into this trade in the first place? So I did see some posts and some chatter on X about some big option buys or just some big buy lots on yinn. And I believe the other ETF is CWEB. But it was a whole bunch of unusual buying on leveraged Chinese ETFs and just Chinese ETFs in general. And of course, the chart that I posted on X where the setup seemed really good over the long term, even though I personally am not comfortable having long-term investments in China. Just seeing setups and taking a little bit shorter term trade on China, especially through an ETF, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if you're managing your risk. But I did see a lot of chatter on X about unusual buying in Chinese ETFs and of course the setup that I saw. But I just wanted to clarify for a lot of the more beginner traders and investors watching this, there is no one strategy or one thing that will make you money all the time. So you'll notice a whole bunch of chatter on X and Reddit and just in general, people saying, oh, there's this huge buy order on Tesla or Apple and I think it's going to go up. That is not always the case. If you've never heard this saying before, there's a saying called price moves, news follows. So if let's say there was a big buy order on Chinese ETFs and Chinese ETFs ended up going down, people would then say, oh, whoever was buying Chinese ETFs, they got washed out. And the reason why it went down was because there was a whole bunch of buyers and they wanted to trap the buyers, right? But if it goes up like it did today, a whole bunch of people would be saying, oh, you see my system works so perfectly and you see all these unusual buyings, you should copy my trades, blah, blah, blah. You see, like, people wait until something happens like today. They wait for it to go up a lot or down a lot before giving some kind of justification. And they'll say it's going down a lot because this happened, or it's going up a lot because this happened. And I just wanted to mention that because I know there's a lot of people out there that like scroll through X or they scroll through Reddit or whatever, some Discord chats, and they'll see someone talking about big whales buying this or whatever, and they start putting a whole bunch of money into this thinking it's going to go up. That is not always the case. If you notice, after I saw that chatter on X, I did go ahead and look at the actual charts like with my own two eyes. And even though I'm going into it with a bias, I controlled my risk to where if it went down a lot, okay, it would have sucked a little bit, but it's in a smaller separate trading account that I don't really care about because it's such a small amount of money. Well, I do care about it. Of course, I care about my performance, but you get what I mean. Like losing $100,000 is not the same as losing $1,000. So I just wanted to mention that for a lot of people that are, especially the new people that see all this talk on X or on YouTube or on whatever about, oh, Nancy Pelosi or whoever, a big politician bought this stock and that is the reason why it went up, or this big whale bought this stock and then the stock went down and the reason why it went down is because they were trying to trap this big buyer. And it's just, okay, it might be the reason, but just focus on what it's actually doing in terms of the chart. Like, what is the chart and the price actually doing? And just focus on managing your own risk, your own portfolio, right? Now that I got that out of the way, today the NASDAQ was down almost 0.8%. And I also wanted to show you guys that I did buy a little bit of Nubank today and some Pepsi. Like I said in a previous video, I just wanted to round out my margin, because for anybody that doesn't know, I believe it's 50K of margin. Robinhood will give you a lower rate. So, and I was only like a couple $100s from it. So I just went ahead and did that. And I do have another Pepsi dividend coming in January 6th. So my Nike dividends, Pepsi dividend, my TLT dividends will go towards my next month's margin payments. And of course, if we take a look at my trades, I did recover a little bit from my losses, selling calls on Palantir and SPY. If we take a look at SPY, it looks like it's trading at 604 right now, so still pretty far away from my strike prices. But if the setup that I see in lower time frames ends up playing out, I think I could at least close it at break even or maybe even at profit. Because the expiration is so close, it'll just start draining the value of the contract. Yeah, and even though I want to be very careful trying to predict Palantir's, I guess, the price target to finish out this month, because this stock is absolutely unpredictable. I don't think it's going to hit 90 by the end of this month. Now, of course, this very unpredictable stock could hit 100, like a lot of people on X are saying. But if it hits 100, I'm going to be sad to see 100 shares get called away, of course, unless I take the loss and buy the contract back. But I most likely won't be doing that. But even though I will be sad to see basically half of my Palantir position get called away, at $100 a share, before this year even ends, come on. And one thing that I noticed, I wasn't purposely doing, but I did notice after the fact, was Nike is about half of my position in Robinhood, and Palantir is about half of the position I have in Nike. And even though I wasn't purposely trying to do that, I thought it was just funny. But let's see the percentage changes. So Robinhood, I think, is just following along with what crypto is doing. If I'm not mistaken, I think crypto was down a little bit. Nike, of course, also down a little bit as well. Palantir cooling off a bit after this absolutely mind-blowing run. And Pepsi going up 1%. We could be seeing the start of what I've been talking about for a while, where we're going through this short-term risk-off moment in the short term, where we see Pepsi kind of do a little bit better, right? Stabilize or go up a bit, and the rest of the market just kind of cools off or maybe even goes down a little bit, going through a short-term correction. But I don't know, because TLT is also down today, so I don't want to say it's completely risk off. And of course, Honest also cooling off a bit more, down almost 4%. SoFi down 3%, and American Express down 2%. And I also forgot to mention this, but overnight I did hit a new high of 132K. Seems like my voice is a little bit messing up here and I don't have any water, so we'll just end the video here. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that overnight I did hit a new high of 132.